Events that make the Earth a place of mysteries. Sometimes such events happen that even scientists cannot find an answer to. Millions of people are ready to do anything to find out the secret of such natural phenomena. Today, I will tell you about some such events.
Tunguska Event. The Tunguska Event, also known as the Tunguska Impact, occurred on the morning of June 30, 1908, near the Podkamenaya Tunguska River in eastern Siberia, now Krasnoyarsk Krai, Russia. It is one of the most mysterious and studied astronomical events of the 20th century. Key aspects of the event are presented below. Event summary. Description. A powerful explosion occurred in the atmosphere, presumably at an altitude of 5 to 10 kilometers. The explosion destroyed about 2,150 square kilometers of taiga, knocking down trees and causing fires. Explosion energy. Equivalent to about 10 to 15 megatons of TNT, 1,000 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Shock wave. Circled the Earth several times, recorded by seismographs around the world. Consequences. 1. Damage. A scorched area with a diameter of about 60 kilometers. More than 80 million trees felled. 2. Light effects. Unusual light phenomena were observed in Europe and Asia, including bright nights and noctilucent clouds. 3. Casualties. There were no official human casualties due to the sparse population of the area. Animals and nomadic reindeer herders may have suffered. Hypotheses about the nature of the phenomenon. 1. Meteorite or comet. The most likely version. A celestial body, diameter 50 to 60 m, entered the Earth's atmosphere and exploded due to high pressure and heat. The comet could have consisted of ice and dust, so it did not leave visible traces, craters. 2. Asteroid. A rocky or metallic body that evaporated in the atmosphere. 3. Alternative theories. Methane or volcanic gas eruption. Exotic explanations including antimatter explosion, black hole or alien craft. Research. 1. First expedition. In 1927, led by Leonid Kulik. Radial tracks of fallen trees were found, but no crater or debris was found. 2. Modern technology. Analysis of microparticles and soil anomalies indicate an extrasolar origin of the material. 3. Open questions. No large fragments of the celestial body have been found to date. Significance. The Tunguska event remains the largest impact event on Earth recorded in recent centuries. It drew attention to the danger of collisions between Earth and asteroids and comets, which was one of the reasons for the creation of modern near-Earth object monitoring programs. Research on the Tunguska event. Research into the Tunguska meteorite began decades after the event and continues to this day. The main stages and results are given below. Early research. 1. Lack of attention in the early years, 1908–1920s. The terrain was difficult to access, and Russia was in political and social turmoil, World War I, Revolution, Civil War. Early reports came from locals, evenks, and occasional travelers. 2. Leonid Kulik's first expedition, 1927. Organized under the leadership of Soviet scientist Leonid Kulik, who suggested that the event was related to the fall of an iron meteorite. Kulik found a huge area of fallen trees, but no crater or significant fragments of the meteorite could be found. 3. Kulik's subsequent expeditions. Kulik undertook several expeditions in 1928–1939, including aerial photography. Indentations in the ground were found, but their origin turned out to be unrelated to a meteorite. Soviet research 1950s–1980s. 1. Seismic and magnetic studies. Anomalies in the Earth's magnetic field in the area of the impact were identified. Residual changes in seismic and atmospheric data were recorded, confirming the scale of the event. 2. Soil and plant analysis. Microscopic particles of metals and compounds that are not typical for terrestrial rocks, such as nickel and iridium, were found. Traces of isotopes were found, indicating a cosmic origin of the substance. 3. Cometary origin theory. Scientists began to hypothesize about an icy comet that evaporated in the atmosphere, which would explain the absence of large fragments. Modern research. 1. Computer modeling, 1990s, present. O models show that a celestial body with a diameter of about 50 to 60 meters and a mass of up to 100,000 tons could have entered the atmosphere at a speed of 27 to 30 km per second and exploded at an altitude of 5 to 10 km. O different models explain the radius of damage and the structure of destruction. 2. Geochemical research. O modern devices have detected particles with an abnormally high content of nickel, iron, and rare earth elements in the soil and trees. O research has confirmed the cosmic origin of the substance. 3. Cosmic dust. O microscopic particles with a high content of carbon and metal oxides have been found in soil layers dating back to 1908. 4. Analysis of lakes in the impact area. O researchers suggest that Lake Checo, 8 kilometers from the epicenter, could have been a crater from the impact of a meteorite fragment. However, this theory remains controversial. Current unresolved questions. 1. No crater. O. Why did such a powerful explosion leave no clearly visible impact crater? O. The body may have completely vaporized in the atmosphere. 2. Nature of the celestial body. O. Was it a comet, an asteroid, or another type of object? The chemical composition of the particles does not provide a definitive answer. 3. Energy of the explosion. O. The mechanism by which the energy was distributed remains a matter of debate. Airburst, fragmentation of the body, or something else. Scientific significance. Research into the Tunguska event has global significance. Planetary defense. Strategies have been developed to detect and prevent potential impacts with celestial objects. Interdisciplinary research. The event is being studied by astronomers, geologists, physicists, and biologists. Precedent. This is the only recorded major atmospheric impact of this magnitude in modern history. On July 19, 1952, an event known as the Washington Merry-Go-Round occurred in the skies over Washington, D.C. At 11:40 p.m., airport controller Edward Nugent noticed 7 objects on radar 15 miles southwest of the city, moving outside of their designated routes. Senior controller Harry Barnes noted that their movements were completely unlike those of normal aircraft. The objects were confirmed on other radars, and controller Howard Coughlin observed a bright orange light visually. The objects moved toward the city and hovered over the White House and the Capitol. Andrews Air Force Base also recorded the objects on its radar. At 3 a.m. on July 20, 2 fighter jets from Newcastle Air Force Base were sent out on patrol, but as they approached, the objects disappeared. After the planes returned to base, the objects reappeared on radar. A radio engineer in a Washington suburb reported seeing 5 large disks in the sky. These events attracted public attention and were widely reported in the press. The U.S. Air Force conducted an investigation, suggesting that temperature inversions causing false echoes on radar could be the cause. However, many researchers and witnesses doubted this explanation, given the visual observations and the unusual behavior of the objects. The Washington Merry-Go-Round remains one of the most famous and discussed UFO sightings in U.S. history. Potomsky Crater. The Potomsky Crater, also known as the Padam Crater, or Fire Eagle's Nest, is a mysterious geological formation located in the Irkutsk region of Siberia, Russia. It has puzzled scientists and enthusiasts for decades due to its unusual structure and origin. Key facts. Location: Bodivo District, Irkutsk Oblast, Russia. Coordinates: approximately 59 degrees 17 and 116 degrees 35 E. Discovery: officially documented in 1949 by geologist Vadim Kolpakov. Dimensions: diameter: about 160 meters, 525 feet. Height: 40 meters, 130 feet. Central mound: 12 meters, 39 feet high. Structure and appearance. Shape: the crater resembles a large, conical hill with a circular depression at its peak, which contains a smaller mound. Composition: primarily limestone blocks and fragmented rock. No clear traces of volcanic activity or meteorite impact have been found. Age: estimated to be between 300 and 500 years old, based on radiocarbon dating of nearby vegetation affected by the event. Theories of origin. Due to its unique characteristics, multiple hypotheses have been proposed to explain the formation of the Potomsky crater. Meteorite impact. Early theories suggested that the crater was formed by the impact of a meteorite. However, no definitive evidence of meteorite fragments or shock metamorphism, common in impact craters, has been found. Volcanic activity. Some researchers proposed that the crater is a result of volcanic processes. However, the region is not known for volcanic activity, and no lava or volcanic ash has been identified. Geothermal gas explosion. A plausible explanation involves the release of underground gases, methane or carbon dioxide, under high pressure. The sudden release could have created the crater-like structure. Man-made origin. Some believe the structure could be related to ancient mining activities or construction. However, no historical records or artifacts support this idea. Tunguska-like event. The formation is sometimes linked to phenomena similar to the Tunguska event, 1908, involving an airburst of a celestial object. This theory remains speculative. Extraterrestrial hypotheses. Unconventional theories suggest the crater is linked to UFO activity or extraterrestrial intervention, but these lack scientific support. Scientific research. Initial studies. Vadim Kolpakov was the first to study the crater extensively in the 1940s. He dismissed volcanic and human-made origins but could not explain its formation. Modern investigations. Since the early 2000s, scientists have conducted multiple expeditions to the site, using geological, geochemical, and radiometric techniques to analyze its structure and composition. Samples collected revealed no traces of extraterrestrial materials or evidence consistent with a meteorite impact. Biological effects. Researchers observed abnormalities in tree growth around the crater, possibly due to soil and atmospheric changes following its formation. Cultural significance. The Potomsky crater is surrounded by local legends and myths. Indigenous Evenk people refer to it as Fire Eagle's Nest, and often associate it with supernatural or ominous events. Due to its remote location, it remains largely inaccessible to casual visitors, adding to its mystique. Current status. Despite decades of research, the exact origin of the Potomsky crater remains unknown. It continues to attract geologists, adventurers, and UFO enthusiasts. Ongoing studies aim to determine whether it is a natural anomaly or the result of an extraordinary event. If you want to explore more about any specific hypothesis or scientific study related to the crater, let me know. Dyatlov Group death. Full information. The Dyatlov Group death is a tragic and still not fully understood incident that occurred on the night of February 1–2, 1959 in the northern Urals. 9 tourists led by experienced skier Igor Dyatlov died under mysterious circumstances. The event has become the subject of numerous studies, theories and debates. Group members. The group consisted of 10 people. 1. Igor Dyatlov, leader, 23 years old. 2. Zinaida Kolmogorova, 22 years old. 3. Lyudmila Dubinina, 20 years old. 4. Yuri Doroshenko, 21 years old. 5. Alexander Kolevatov, 24 years old. 6. Rustam Slobodin, 23 years old. 7. Nikolai Thibault Brignol, 24 years old. 8. Yuri Krivonishenko, 23 years old. 9. Semyon Alexander Zolotarev, 37 years old. 10. Yuri Yudin, 21 years old, left the group due to health reasons and survived. Goals of the expedition. Route. Complex ski trip across the northern Urals. Objective. Reach the summit of Mount Otorden, in Mansi, don't go there. Difficulty category. Highest, 3rd. Chronology of events. 1. January 23, 1959. The group left Sverdlovsk, now Yekaterinburg, for the city of Ivdel. 2. January 28, 1959. Yuri Yudin leaves the group due to health problems. 3. January 31, 1959. Oh, the tourists leave some of their supplies at the base camp on the mountainside. 4. February 1, 1959. Oh, the group sets up camp on the slope of Mount Kholat Syakhl, in Mansi, Mountain of the Dead. 5. February 12, 1959. Oh, expected date of return of the group. Lack of news causes concern. 6. February 20, 1959. Oh, a search for the group is organized. 7. February 26, 1959. Oh, the group's tent is found cut from the inside, with bare footprints around it. The scene of the tragedy. The group camped on the slope of Mount Kholat Syakhl, 1096 m, in harsh conditions. No traces of animal attacks or other presence were recorded. Discovery of bodies. 1. First discovery. Oh, tent cut from the inside. Oh, clothes, shoes and equipment abandoned. Oh, bare footprints lead to the forest. 2. Bodies of the first 5 participants. Oh, found at different distances from the tent. Oh, cause of death. Hypothermia. 3. Bodies of the remaining 4. Oh, found in May 1959, under a layer of snow. Oh, some had injuries not typical of falls or attacks, rib fractures, craniocerebral injuries. Injuries. Lyudmila Dubinina. Oh, no tongue. Oh, multiple rib fractures. Semyon Zolotarev. Oh, severe rib fractures. Nikolai Thibault Brignol. Oh, contused craniocerebral injury. Rustam Slobodin. Oh, crack in the skull. All had strange radioactive traces on their clothes. Versions of death. 1. Natural factors. Oh, avalanche. The tourists could have left the tent due to the threat of an avalanche. Oh, hurricane wind. A katabatic wind could have caused panic. 2. Military tests. Oh, missile tests. The region was a missile testing zone, they may have been victims of an accidental impact. Oh, sound waves. Infrasound could have caused panic and disorientation. 3. Animal attack. Oh, excluded, since no traces of an attack were found. 4. Criminal version. Oh, an attack by strangers, for example, local Mansi hunters, as unlikely. There were no conflicts, no signs of a struggle. 5. Mystical and anomalous theories. Oh, UFOs, Bigfoot, paranormal activity. Modern research. 1. 2019-2020. Oh, the Russian Prosecutor General's office conducted a new investigation, announcing that an avalanche could have been the cause of death. 2. Computer modeling. Oh, confirmed the possibility of an avalanche, but opponents of the version point to the discrepancy between the injuries and the conditions. Mysteries and unresolved questions. Why was the tent cut from the inside? Reasons for the severe injuries of some participants. Source of radiation on clothing. Why did the group leave the camp barefoot in extreme conditions? Cultural impact. The event became the basis for books, films, podcasts and theories. In 2021, Dyatlov Pass received the status of a specially protected area. Riddles and unsolved questions of the Dyatlov Pass tragedy. The death of the Dyatlov group continues to excite the minds of researchers and mystery lovers due to many unexplained facts. Here are the key questions that still have no definitive answers. 1. Why was the tent cut from the inside? Fact. The group's tent was found cut from the inside, not through the entrance. Riddle. What could have forced experienced tourists to leave the tent, leaving their clothes and equipment, and cut it in a hurry? O version. Panic reaction to something inside the tent, for example, an avalanche or a threat of attack. O contradiction. No threat was found that would be sufficient to cut the tent. 2. Why did the tourists leave barefoot and lightly dressed in 30-degree frost? Fact. Most of the participants left the tent without shoes and in their underwear. Riddle. What could have made the group leave the shelter in extreme conditions? O version. Panic due to a natural phenomenon, sounds or other factors. O contradiction. Experienced tourists knew that this would lead to a quick death. 3. Causes of strange injuries in some participants. Fact. Some participants, Lyudmila Dubinina, Semyon Zolotarev, Nikolai Thibault Brignol, had severe injuries comparable to the impact of a strong blow. O rib and skull fractures. O Dubinina's tongue is missing. Riddle. Where did such injuries come from if no traces of a struggle, falls or an avalanche were found at the site? O version. Impact of a wave from an explosion or pressure of the mass of snow. O contradiction. The location of the injuries does not correspond to normal avalanche injuries. 4. Source of radiation on clothes. Fact. Traces of radiation were found on the clothes of some participants. Riddle. Where could the radiation have come from? O version. Contact with radioactive substances at previous work, some members of the group worked in the nuclear industry. O contradiction. Why was radioactivity detected only on certain items of clothing and not on everyone? 5. Traces of bare feet in the snow. Fact. Traces of bare feet of the participants were found at the scene of the incident. Riddle. Why did no one return to the tent for clothes and shoes? O version. Disorientation or fear that kept them from returning. O contradiction. No natural factors explain such behavior of the group. 6. Why did the group set up camp on an open slope and not in the forest? Fact. The tent was set up on the slope of Kholat Syakhl, although the forest was nearby and offered protection from the wind. Riddle. Why did the tourists choose a more dangerous place to spend the night? O version. Training in extreme conditions or lack of time to descend into the forest. O contradiction. Such a decision is not typical of experienced tourists. 7. Why did the events develop so unevenly? Fact. Part of the group died from hypothermia near the tent, others from injuries in the ravine. Riddle. Why did the group split up? What could have forced some participants to move deeper into the forest, despite the deteriorating conditions? O version. Gradual development of panic, group splitting in an attempt to find help. O contradiction. There are no signs of a logical organization of actions. 8. The role of local legends and natural phenomena. Fact. Mansi names of the area, for example, Kholat Syakhl, Mountain of the Dead, gave rise to mystical theories. Riddle. Is it possible that the group encountered rare natural phenomena? O version. Infrasound, optical illusions, unusual weather conditions, avalanches, ball lightning. O contradiction. These phenomena are unlikely to have caused such injuries. 9. Why did the authorities classify the investigation materials? Fact. The case documents remained sealed for many years. Mystery. What could the authorities be hiding? O version. Military experiments, missile tests or explosions that led to the tragedy. O contradiction. The investigation did not reveal any obvious traces of military facilities. 10. What happened to the missing personal belongings? Fact. The group's belongings and some documents were lost. Mystery. Was this evidence deliberately removed? O version. Errors in search work or an attempt to conceal information. Conclusions. Despite decades of research, the death of the Dyatlov group remains one of the most mysterious tragedies of the 20th century. Modern research suggests that an avalanche or katabatic wind could have been the cause, but the lack of convincing evidence and many unexplained details continue to give rise to new theories.